Bear is a shy, soft, and nervous young man. He has spent years hiding his feelings. He is in love with Nikki, his friend and coworker, but has never been able to tell her. Every time he tries to tell her, the words just sound wrong. His friend Ian listens as Bear practices what he wants to say. Ian can immediately tell that Bear is overthinking everything. Instead of giving him serious advice, he tells Bear to act more confidently and tells Bear to tease Nikki by using her high school nickname, Freaky Nikki. Bear knows Nikki dislikes that name, so he says he won't. Bear wants to confess during their regular trivia night with friends, but Ian tells him not to turn the group hangout into a romantic situation. Bear doesn't find the courage. When he gets home, he discovers that his cat, Sandy, has died after accidentally swallowing his pills. He cries alone. Later, Nikki calls him. Bear is still grieving, but he hides it and tries to sound normal. Nikki talks about the group's plans for the night, and Bear initially says he might stay home. Then Nikki reveals she plans to quit their shared workplace. Realizing he might soon lose the daily connection he has with her, Bear agrees to come out. Nikki loses her crystal necklace after it slips into a drain. Bear later decides to replace it for her, hoping the gift might become a way to show how much he cares. He visits a strange occult shop and looks through the crystals, but nothing feels right. Then he notices an unusual object called the One Wish Willow. The shopkeeper explains that whoever breaks it in half gets one wish. She also warns him that people who use it often return unhappy because the results are never as simple as they expect. Anyhow, Bear buys it and takes it with him. That night at trivia, Bear keeps looking for a chance to speak to Nikki privately. He follows her when she goes to get drinks, but every moment slips away before he can say anything. Sarah, another friend in the group, notices that Bear seems upset. She learns about his cat and shows him genuine sympathy. It's clear that Sarah cares about him deeply, but Bear's attention remains fixed on Nikki. Later, Nikki decides she does not want to continue the night and asks Ian to take her home. Bear steps in and offers to drive her instead. During the ride, Nikki finds out about his cat and comforts him. She also talks about leaving work. Then Nikki brings up Sarah. She tells Bear that Sarah has feelings for him. Bear denies it, saying Sarah is only a friend. Nikki then admits that when she likes someone, people usually fail to notice. Bear realizes this might be his chance. He tries to confess, but once again he can't get the words out. Instead, he follows Ian's advice and calls her Freaky Nikki. Nikki becomes annoyed and asks him directly whether he likes her. Even with the question placed in front of him, Bear freezes. Nikki leaves and Bear is left sitting in his car with the One Wish Willow. Frustrated by his own fear, he breaks it in half and wishes that Nikki would love him more than anyone else in the world. For a few seconds, nothing seems different. Then Bear sees Nikki still outside. She turns back, walks to his car, and suddenly asks him to come inside with her because he's just lost his cat. He senses something is off and wonders whether the wish has already taken effect. Nikki starts acting weird. One moment she seems affectionate and concerned. The next moment she looks confused, as if she doesn't understand what's happening to her. Then the strange warmth returns and she urges Bear to stay close to her. Instead of going to her place, Nikki asks to go to Bear's apartment. He's unsure what to make of it, but he agrees. Once there, Nikki becomes emotional and says her father is dying. Bear lets her stay, believing she needs comfort. Then she asks him to lie beside her. Bear hesitates, but eventually lies down next to her. Nikki takes off her top and moves closer. She kisses him, but then suddenly pulls away, confused and frightened. She apologizes and says she's having a panic attack. The next morning, Nikki seems gentle again. She decorates Bear's dead cat weirdly, and that deeply affects him, and he asks her not to do that. They go to work together, and Ian immediately notices that something is up. Bear tells Ian that Nikki has been acting strangely. She had a breakdown and mentioned that her father has cancer, and Nikki has been constantly staring at Bear while they talk. Ian questions the story. He says Nikki has never seemed close to her father. This makes Bear realize that Nikki's strange behavior may be connected specifically to him. That night, Nikki comes to Bear's apartment dressed up and excited. She apologizes for the previous night and claims she must have been drunk. Bear asks how much she remembers. Nikki says she remembers enough, then admits she likes what is happening between them. She says she always knew Bear had feelings for her, and when he asks if she likes him too, she says yes. From then, they begin acting like a couple. At first, everything seems happy and affectionate. Bear finally has the relationship he wanted, and Nikki appears fully devoted to him. But the intensity quickly grows uncomfortable. Ian continues to doubt the situation, whereas Bear and Nikki's sudden closeness hurts Sarah. Bear tries to believe that things are normal, but Nikki's actions become harder to ignore. On one date, Nikki gives Bear a tiger's eye crystal that once belonged to her mother. She says it's meant to give him confidence. Bear suddenly gets a call from Ian, who tells him that she's been lying about her dad having cancer. Bear then asks whether her father has cancer. Nikki immediately becomes tense, makes a scene, tells him not to ruin the moment, and avoids giving a direct answer. Instead, she asks why the truth matters if they're happy together. Bear wakes up in the middle of the night and finds Nikki standing silently in the corner of the room. She's been creepily watching him sleep and tells him he looks cute. A few moments later, her mood shifts. She starts crying and says Bear doesn't love her as much as she loves him. Then she screams at him, asking why he doesn't love her. Almost instantly, she calms down and returns to bed. Bear becomes increasingly afraid of what is happening. While getting ready for work the next morning, he notices that some of his hair has been cut. He confronts Nikki and she seems to be responsible. He tells her never to do that again and admits that her behavior is scaring him. Nikki apologizes and promises to stop. She gives him the lunch she packed for him. When Bear tries to leave the apartment, he discovers that the front door has been sealed shut with tape. He forces it open and leaves. At work, Bear opens the lunch Nikki packed for him. Inside, he finds several photographs of himself taken without his knowledge. Sarah notices how disturbed he is and warns him that Nikki's sudden change doesn't make sense. She reminds him that Nikki had previously spoken about Bear as if he were like a little brother. She also tells him that she hasn't been accepted into any college yet, and there's just one college letter left, so she's nervous. Then Bear finds a note in the lunch, asking how he likes the lunch and how the cat is. He immediately realizes she cooked his dead cat. That horrifies him and he pukes. After work, Ian confronts Bear. He reminds him that only a short time ago, Bear himself believed Nikki was having some kind of breakdown. Bear is acting as if the relationship is normal. Ian invites Bear to his party but says Nikki can't come, saying it's supposed to be a boys' night. Bear calls the customer service number on the One Wish Willow. He asks if a wish can be changed. The person on the phone says no. He asks if Nikki's feelings are real, but the answer is avoided. Finally, Bear asks if the wish can be cancelled. He is told that the wish cannot be undone. Nikki will remain affected for as long as Bear is alive. The only way for the wish to end is for Bear to die. Bear returns home and she's been waiting for him, covered in her own vomit and urine. He tries to ask her about his lunch, but she avoids the question. When he tells her about Ian's party and says she can't come, Nikki becomes upset and screams. She feels Sarah might be there. Her jealousy worsens. Bear eventually gives in and brings her with him. At the party, Nikki's presence makes the group uneasy. She laughs too loudly, stares at Bear, and reacts strangely to ordinary moments. During a game, Bear is dared to kiss the person sitting beside him. Sarah is beside him, but Nikki immediately moves Sarah out of the way and takes her place. She kisses Bear in front of everyone, and the room becomes silent. Ian asks if she's okay, but Nikki suddenly loses control and hurts herself in front of the group. The party falls apart and Bear takes her to the hospital, who refuse to take her in. Bear brings Nikki home. He tells her they need space. He explains that he wanted to be with her, but not in this way. He wants the real Nikki, not the version created by the wish. But she threatens him and becomes emotional and unstable. Later that night, Sarah texts Bear to come to the park as she wants to tell him something important. While Bear is preparing to leave, Nikki speaks in her sleep. Her voice sounds different and more like her true self. She begs for everything to end and asks him to kill her as she can't control her own body and there's something else controlling it. Bear leaves to meet Sarah at the park. Sarah tells him that Nikki and Ian had been involved in an on and off relationship for 2 years. She believes Nikki's sudden relationship with Bear may have started as a way to affect Ian. Sarah tells Bear that the entire situation feels wrong and that he deserves someone stable and honest with him. Bear asks if she means someone like her. Before Sarah can answer, Nikki appears and attacks Sarah. Bear is horrified and frozen. Sarah is dead. After Sarah's death, Bear is terrified, but he helps cover up what happened. Later, he opens Sarah's letter and discovers that she has been accepted into college. The news devastates him. Bear realizes that the wish has destroyed far more than his own life. Desperate to reverse it, he returns to the occult shop and demands another one-wish willow. The shopkeeper gives him one, but when Bear tries to break it, nothing happens. He learns that each person gets only one wish. Since he has already used his, he can't make another. Bear goes to Ian and tells him the truth. He explains the one-wish willow, the wish, and what it has done to Nicky. Ian refuses to believe him, so Bear gives him another willow and asks him to wish that Bear had never made his original wish. Instead, Ian wishes for $1 billion. The wish comes true and money begins falling from the sky. Ian now understands that Bear was telling the truth. Bear tries to get Nicky to make a wish that will fix everything, but her mind is too unstable. Her obsession takes over, and the situation becomes violent. During the chaos, Ian gets there and Nicky shoots him. Bear finally accepts that as long as he's alive, Nicky will remain trapped under the wish. If he dies, the wish ends. He locks himself in his bathroom and takes the same pills that killed his cat, intending to sacrifice himself and free Nicky. Nicky finds another one-wish willow. She breaks it and wishes for Bear to love her as much as she loves him. Bear returns to Nicky with the same unnatural devotion that has consumed her. The wish has power over him too. They appear happy together. Then the pills begin to work, and Bear collapses. Nicky's confused and terrified. As Bear dies, his original wish breaks. Nicky's obsession disappears, and her real self returns. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more cool recaps. Comment below and tell me which supernatural horror movie you want next. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next one. Bye!